All right, so this is going to be another movie review. This one's called Stranger in Town, 1943. I'm giving it 3 out of 5 stars. Some of the jokes were very funny. I like Frank Morgan in the beginning, but it started to go downhill when Gene Rogers from Flash Gordon came into the picture. It wasn't funny. They talk about monopolies and what was the other thing? There were some really dumb jokes in this. Let's just say. Monopoly and something else. The ending speech by Frank Morgan, The Wizard of Oz. So, what do you get when you mix The Wizard of Oz, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Flash Gordon, Room Service, and from the I can't even remember the name of the other movie. From the Boundaries of Space or something like that. You get this movie because you've got the dude from Creature from the Black Lagoon, Richard Carlson, is in this, and you've got Donald MacBride from Room Service, John Hodiak, who's in On the Threshold of Space. That's what it's called. Sorry about that. Stranger in Town is a 1943 comedy drama, political film made by MGM. It was directed by Rory Rowland and produced by Robert Sisk, from original screenplay by Isabel Leonard and William Kozlenko. The film has a music score by Danielle Alexandrovich Amfith Eatroth. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Russian-Italian composer and conductor, and Anthony Shilkret. And cinematography by Sidney Wagner. I thought the jokes in the beginning were hilarious. First 20 minutes were great. Last 40 minutes were terrible. But the jokes in the beginning were so funny. Frank Morgan is great in the beginning. I love his character. He's a duck hunter, and he pulls out. He's a duck. He's a Supreme Court justice who likes duck hunting. So he's in his Supreme Court office, and he just pulls out this big ass shotgun. Oh, that was great. That made my day right there. Quickly planning to go duck hunting, John Josephus Joe Grant, a U.S. Supreme Court justice, tells his secretary, Lucy Gilbert, Dale Arden from Flash Gordon, where he will be, but no one else. He wants no one else to know where he's going to be. A fish and game warden promptly insists he pay an extra fee for a license and toss in a tip. That was funny. Grant refuses, and he ends up in town facing possible criminal charges. There he discovers honest lawyer Bill Adams, Richard Carlson from Creature of the Black Lagoon, running for mayor against the incumbent Connison, someone he considers to be corrupt. Okay. So it's like you're going into this highway, and they set up a trip. They set up a traffic violation trap for you, and and the whole thing is corrupt. That's what this Supreme Court justice showing up in this town is like. Judge Austin Harkley, businessman Blackston, and even the sheriff appear to be in the mayor's pocket. And when Bill is insulted and throws a punch, they conspire to keep him in jail. Joe intervenes on Bill's behalf without telling anyone his true identity. He helps free Bill in the first legal dispute, then does likewise for Lucy after she shows up and she is denied a room at the local hotel for no good reason. Really, the entire town doesn't recognize that this guy's a U.S. Supreme Court justice in 1943. Oh, the other one was, Dale Arden says, I think I'll use the money to invest in war bonds. That was the other stupid joke. This movie's kind of dated. I mean, they talk about war bonds and monopolies and stuff. Who really cares about that stuff? Only people in the 1940s care about that stuff. Joe ultimately admits who he really is, causing Bill to faint. Once he recovers, his political career begins. Let's see what IMDb says. The movie poster looks very nice. I've been saying that, and they're all 1940s movies. All three of them. Okay, so it's Stranger in Town, 1943, 1 hour, 7 minutes. Gets a whopping 7.1 out of 10 on IMDb. I guess people thought it was funnier than I did. I thought some of the jokes were kind of dated. That's the only problem that I had with it. Plus the speech by Frank Morgan it sounded good, like, if you're a good citizen, you hold your government accountable, blah, blah, blah. Then he starts talking about unity crap, and I was like, what? In a small, corrupt town, an honest, crusading lawyer running for mayor gets unexpected help from a tourist who happens to be a Supreme Court judge. The Wizard of Oz himself. The man behind the curtain. Other movies like this are The Amazing Mr. Williams, New York Confidential, Pushover, and People Will Talk. I haven't seen any of those, but they get high ratings, 6.6 to 7.3 IMDb rating range for those four. In the small town of Crownport, local attorney Bill Adams, creature from the Black Lagoon guy, is trying to break up the ring of corrupt town officials by running for mayor. The cards seem stacked against him when he gets help from a visiting hunter who, unknown to Adams and the rest of the town, is actually vacationing Supreme Court Justice John Josephus Grant. That's the storyline from Doug Cederberg. Varnoff at sonic.net. Tagline is, he's on the side of law, order, and love. Original print ad, all caps. It's a comedy, drama, romance. Character actor Joe Ewell, who plays the uncredited barber, was the father of Mickey Rooney, born Ninian Joseph Ewell Jr. I guess he didn't want to keep the name Joel Ewell Jr., so he just changed his name to Mickey Rooney. When Bill leaves the front desk at the hotel to go upstairs, he forgets to take his room key. But when he comes back downstairs, he tosses his key on the desk as he leaves the hotel. I actually noticed that. Dude, didn't you forget your room key? He grabs everything except for his room key. And then it was like a lack of continuity, because how did he get the key in his pocket to put it back on the desk? We didn't see that part. Anyway, here's a quotation from John Josephus Grant, aka the Wizard of Oz. It's only right that you should know why I, a stranger, have become involved in your affairs. Believe me, it's not because I'm a justice of the Supreme Court. It's because, like all of you here, I'm a citizen of this country. Okay, so far, so good. That is no little honor. Men have fought revolutions, have died to be called citizen, and as citizens, we carry a burning responsibility. Sounds like a Grover Cleveland inauguration speech. It means that when we elect men to public office, we cannot do it as lightly as we flip a coin. It means that after we've elected them, we can't just sit back and say our job is done. What they do now doesn't concern us. That philosophy of indifference is what the enemies of decent government want. If we allow them to have their way, to grow strong and vicious, then the heroic struggle which wielded thousands of lovely towns like this into a great nation means nothing. So far, so good. I'm all on board with it. Then we're not citizens, we're traitors. The great liberties by which we live have been bought with blood. The kind of government we get is the kind of government we want. And this is where it starts going downhill. Government of the people, by the people, and for the people can mean any kind of government. It's our duty to make it mean only one kind: uncorrupted, free, united. Oh, terrible ending. Great start, terrible ending. Here's a featured review on IMDb from Kitty Man, dated May 12th, 2011. Kitty Man gives it 7 out of 10. The title of the movie review on IMDb is called An Enjoyable Mr. Smith Reversal. In Mr. Smith Goes to Washington in 1939, flyover wisdom solves Washington corruption. In A Stranger in Town, 1943, Washington wisdom solves flyover corruption. Frank Morgan portrays an incognito Supreme Court justice who, during his duck hunting vacation, is reluctantly drawn into a small town fight against corruption. It's a dramatic change from his usual flamboyant, befuddled performance, and he does pretty well. One discordant note, however, occurs early in the picture. Morgan, while cradling a shotgun, meanders throughout town into a barbershop and even a courtroom. Nowadays, he'd have been pounced on, probably branded a lunatic. That's why I like this Frank Morgan character. He's great with his shotgun. I love it. This is back in the day when you could bring your shotgun into anywhere, even the airport. The film's pace is snappy. The romantic leads, Richard Carlson and Gene Rogers, have excellent chemistry, and the supporting cast is fabulous. It includes Robert Barrett, Porter Hall, John Hodiak in his debut, Donald MacBride. John Hodiak's last movie was On the Threshold of Space, by the way. Another movie that I've reviewed. Donald MacBride, Andrew Tomes, and Chill Wills, later Francis the Talking Mule's voice. Ironically, however, Robert Barrett, who does a fine job playing the Legionnaires mayor, had about a decade earlier been cast in an opposing role as the bucolic reformer fighting corruption. His part was in The St. Louis Kid, 1934, a charming James Cagney vehicle. Yet A Stranger has 2 sloppy errors, both of which occur in the same scene. They should have been caught and corrected. First, Carlson enters the local hotel and orders a single room for the night, but he walks away, leaving his key behind. Then, following morning in the court, he testifies that the hotel had violated the law by having the twin beds in his room placed less than 2 feet apart. If the room was a single, however, it wouldn't have had twin beds. Oh, good catch. So there are two. There are two goofs in this movie, not one. I didn't even think about the second one, but it makes sense now. Finally, you might try following up with this film with The Magnificent Yankee, 1950. If you're into related double features, it's a heartwarming story about Oliver Wendell Holmes. Oh, the worst Chief Justice ever. An actual Supreme Court justice whose tenure would have ended about the same time Morgan's fictitious one had started. I don't think I want to see The Magnificent Yankee. Thank you very much, but okay. I made another mistake in my last video. I keep putting the same movie twice on my list. And in particular, this time I'm talking about Deputy Marshal, which I've already reviewed. I'm not going to review it again. I'm going to skip over it. It's on my list twice. So disregard my list from my last video. I'll give you an updated list now, as soon as I get to it. Here we go. Half a Sinner, 1940. Captured in Chinatown, 1935. Ribfire, 1949. Tales of Robin Hood, 1951. And The Magic Sword, 1962. Those are my next 5. I hope you enjoyed my video. I'm getting no comments from anybody besides Karate Man in the chat room, so I'm guessing I'm not appealing to Professor Quiz and Adrian. What happened to Jeff Jaffe? He disappeared. British Crumpet Man? Where is he? I guess he gave up on me because I'm not gay. All right. Well, that's the end of my review. I did 7 this weekend, which is pretty decent. I wanted to do 9, but my son wanted to go on a long walk in Golden Gate Park, which we did. My son stuck around after the Latin Mass for his confession. Now he's completely clean of mortal sin. He can get his Eucharist next week. I don't know if I'm picking up on Friday or Sunday. my ex-wife is keeping me in the dark about summer plans. Again, it's not the first time, and I had to bring it up in court multiple times. And now she's getting lazy again. Such is life. My grandmother told me nobody said life was going to be fair. And ain't that the truth with my life? Life is a precious gift from God, though. I keep telling my son that. And yeah, he's pretty hardcore Catholic. He's teaching me stuff about Catholic religion, so I couldn't hope for a better son, really. Anyways, he started to he started to pray before eating and after eating too. He's really into that 1962 Catholic missile that I bought. I bought him 2 of those, and he's really into it. And best investment I ever made, I think. Later,